Hi guys, today we're going to do the very last lesson on sequences or series. If you think for yourself, you remember the previous lessons were mostly, the last few were about the series where you add the terms to one another. Now you can think, if I've got 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8 times 2 is 16 and I get those and I add all of them and I keep on adding until the day I die, up to infinity. I will actually not get an answer. The answer will just be infinity. So what we're going to do today, we're going to look at the infinite series. So if I have a series like that, what happens if I add, what happens in the end? So after this lesson, you'll be able to have a formula which you can use to find certain answers. Now, as the previous two formulae, you must be able to deduct this formula. It's a very short, easy one. You must be able to know where this formula is coming from. Good, so let's just quickly revise the symbols again. You all know that little n stands for the nth term. A is your first term, so this is stuff we've done all along. R is your constant ratio. Sn, the S stands for the sum of the first terms. Now we're going to do S to infinity. That means if you keep on adding, and that sequence doesn't stop. It just carries on forever. And then this little arrow here is very important to know. If you think back to functions that we did, we said in a tan graph, it goes closer and closer and closer to a certain axis, but it never touches. So it tends to go towards that line, but it never touches. So it's the same principle. You can think for yourself, if I add up to infinity, I cannot get a proper answer. It will just tend to be a specific answer. But yeah, if we do the examples, it will be much clearer. Now, there's a few words that you need to know. These yellow words, diverge, converge, and oscillate. I always remember diverge like that. It goes diverge, it goes out. So if you have large numbers like the 2, 4, 8 times 2 is 16 times 2 is 32, and you need to add those, your series is going to diverge. It's going to become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until infinity. If the series converges, it means I'm going to do something so that those answers become smaller and smaller. And you can think for yourself, if my constant ratio, the previous one was a 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. If my constant ratio is a fraction, like a half, if I take something and I times by a half, it becomes smaller. If I times by a half again, it becomes smaller. A quarter times a half is an eighth. An 8 times a half is a 16th. So it becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. So we can try and add those terms because they don't just go out to infinity. They become smaller and smaller. So maybe we can add them, and we'll see just now how. And then you must just know oscillate means if my one term is a plus and one is a minus, and one is a plus and one is a minus, which is also possible. So those are the three that you can probably get. Good. Let's just look at these two examples. It will make more sense. If I have 1 plus 4 plus 9, etc. Can you see the numbers are becoming bigger? It's the square numbers. The numbers are becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. So we say, if n, that is the number of terms, if n tend to infinity, if n, let me just make space here, if n tend to infinity, because remember, this is T1 and this is T2. So if we here get to T infinity, it just means I'm carrying on and on and on. So if that little n there tend to infinity, now why do we make an arrow? Why don't we say equal to? You can't have a number like infinity. There is no such number. We use this symbol because we're lazy in maths to write it carries on forever and ever, but that is what the symbol means. An 8 on its side means it carries on forever. Then it means if I add all those terms, it's just logical. It will also tend to infinity. So I'm going to add and add and add and add, and I'm going to never stop until I die. So the answer will tend to infinity because the numbers are getting bigger and bigger. If it's something like this, 64 divided by 2 is 32, divided by 2 is 16. So divided by 2 actually means I'm timesing by a half. You agree with me? So when I'm timesing by a half, the numbers are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So here, if n tends to infinity, then Sn, now we're going to do examples. You will not know where it's coming from now, but we're going to do the example, tends to 128. So it will give me an answer, which means the series converges. it comes closer and closer, so you can get an answer in the end. Now, if I do the next page, maybe it will make more sense to you. Let's just see what it says. It says there, if the R lies between -1 and +1, in other words, if the R is a proper fraction between -1 and 1, then if my n tends to infinity. Now, think of anything. If I have 2 to the power of 1, the answer is 2. If I have 2 to the power of 2, the answer is 4. Now, let's do a half. If I have a half to the power of 1 or 2, it's just a quarter. If I have a half to the power of 3, it is an eighth. So I can carry on. So if I have that same fraction to the power of infinity, do you agree with me that bottom will be so very, 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 very big that in the end, my whole value will tend to 0. So my whole value to the power of n will tend to 0. Now, there's the formula that we're going to use. S infinity is equal, but we don't say equal to, we say it tends to be a over 1 minus r. Now, let me quickly show you. Maybe if it's a practical problem, you'll understand it better. If I have this folio, and I every time divide it by 2, so I times it by half, which is just the one that we did previously. If I tear it into 2 pieces, I've got my 2 halves. So I put down 1 half on a clean sheet of paper. Now I take the other piece and I tear it into 2. So I've got quarters, and I put it down underneath that one. I take another one and I tear it into 2 and I put down the pieces. And so I carry on. And I divide it into 2. I divide it into 2. Now you can see what's happening. I'm dividing it into 2. It's becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. You can't even hardly see this one. Dividing into 2. So these little pieces are getting so very, very small that in the end I will not physically be able to divide it in half anymore. But if I take all these pieces and I put it down on a full sheet of paper, it will tend to cover this whole page again, because it was the original page that I used. I cut it all in half, and in the end, if I put all the pieces down here, it will cover the whole, nearly the whole paper again. It will cover it so close that I can just as well say it tends to be the whole original one paper again. Now, this is the formula we're using for it. Let's go to the next page and just see where this formula is coming from. You remember this is the original formula for my sum to any geometric series. Now, remember what we said, if this n is very, very, very big, and your r is a fraction, if your r is any fraction, and this is very, very big, in other words, so big that it nearly tends to infinity, then the final answer will be 0. So let's just look what happens there. If my r is a fraction, a proper fraction between -1 and 1, and that is the important thing that you have to remember. This formula of u here is infinity, because what happens now, that is now 0, so the only thing left on the top there is a over 1 minus r. This can only happen if -1 smaller than r smaller than 1. In other words, you can only use the sum to infinity formula if your r is a proper fraction. Now, what many times in an exam happens, if it's 2, 4, plus 8, plus 16, plus 32, you can see I'm timesing by 2. Pupils forget. And if they ask, what is the sum of this? They don't say it's infinity. They try and use this formula. If you do, you'll see you get all funny answers. This formula only works if my sequence converges. So if it comes down to smaller numbers, so that in the end I can do what I showed you on this paper, I can times half, and in the end I can add all of those pieces, and it will give me back my original, or nearly back my original page, because remember, I'm supposed to carry on infinitely to tear that piece of paper into 2. Good. So I hope you understand the concept, because it's very easy. This is the easiest of all. You'll see the 2 examples will go chuff, because you've got a very easy formula. You just need to know, can I use this formula or can I not? Now, here they give a sequence, and they do not tell you if it's geometric or arithmetic. So I need to check. I need to check my r. I'm going to check r first. 4, 3 to the 4 over 4, 3 to the 5. Remember, right-hand side over left-hand side. That gives me, those cancels, it gives me 1 over 3. Let's just check again, because remember, I may not ever assume it's geometric. I need to test it. So I'm going to do again, right-hand side, 3 to the 3 over 4, 3 to the 4. The 4's cancel, 1 over 3. Ah, I found it. R is equal to a third. Circle it. A is equal to 4 times 3 to the 5. Circle it. You do not start your problem if you do not have those two loopies, the A and the R. Now, what are they asking? Show that the series is convergent. Now, in order to show that, remember what I said on the previous slide, only if the R is a fraction between -1 and +1, only then the sequence will be convergent. So if I go to number A, my R is a third. So -1 is smaller than a third, is smaller than 1. That is true. If I fill in the R there, I can see it does lie between -1 and 1. So therefore, I'm going to say -1 is smaller than R, smaller than 1. Therefore, my sequence is convergent. And there I've answered my question. It's a definite exam question. They always ask it somewhere in the paper, in the sequence question. Prove or show, and remember, prove or show means you must work out your own R. And you must check if your own R lies between -1 and 1. So there's your first answer. The next one, they say, calculate the sum to infinity. Now they can't ask you the 100, or they can if it's just a normal sequence, but if they ask the sum to infinity, there's one formula only. S to infinity is equal to A over 1 minus R. It's a very, very easy formula. A was 4 times 3 to the power of 5 over 1 minus a third. 1 minus a third, let's just quickly do that, is 2/3. You click that on your calculator and you get the answer, the sum to infinity. Good. So you can just go and click that and you check the answer on the formal memo that we've given you. So you'll see these sums are very, very short. They're very, very easy. You must just understand what it means if they say to infinity. So you're going to retry this on your own. Don't look at any answer afterwards. You can go and check that answer. There's nothing funny there. There's the answer in the end, 1,458, after you click that on your calculator. Good. Good. Another example. Given the geometric sequence, so now I know it's the geometric sequence, so I know there should be an R. So I don't have to test now. I can just find my R. Show that. Be very, very careful. If they say show that or prove, I may not at all touch that formula there. I may not use it. I may not touch it. It's not part of the problem. I need to do my own sum, and in the end, I need to get this answer. So don't let it confuse you and start using that stuff in there. You're going to do your own sum, and afterwards you're going to check. So let's just get some, see if I've got an empty page here. Firstly, we're going to try and find R. Right-hand side divided by left-hand side. That gives me y over 3. I do not have to test it again, but you can. You'll see if you test the third divided by the second term, it gives you y over 3. So I'm just going to write it neatly here so I can circle it. R is y over 3. I like to see the two loops. A is equal to 9y. Don't let it put you off. Doesn't matter if it's a proper number or if it's just letters. That is your A and that is your R. Now they say show that Tn is equal to. Now remember, if they say show that Tn, it means I must use my normal T formula. My normal T formula, Tn is AR to the n minus 1. Good. Why is it this one? It's the ratio formula. It's the geometric one. So I'm going to fill in. They want the Tn on the left-hand side because that is what I need to prove there, Tn. The A was 9y. The R was y over 3 to the power of n minus 1. There I found my Tn. But does it look like these? Actually not. It doesn't look like these. So I need to do something to change it to look a little bit more like these. So let's just take out the brackets and see if I do this. If I say 9y times y to the power of n minus 1 over 3 to the power of n minus 1. Now, I see all over a -1 and a -1, and I see a y to the n, and I see a 3 to the n, because remember, look what they've got there. They've got y over 3 to the power of n. That is the same as y to the n over 3 to the n. So do you agree with me? This first part of your fraction, maybe we should put it in a bracket, it does mean multiply. The first part of your fraction should stay there, but not the other part. So I need to split up my exponents. Again, it goes back to exponent laws. I'm going to rewrite this sum. I'm just going to put the 9y over 1 because I'm working with fractions. I'm going to write y to the n times y to the -1. I'm going to write 3 to the n times 3 to the -1. Because if I do that, I got what I actually want. I want this y to the n over 3 to the n, but I do not want the other stuff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to multiply the 9y, that little +1 there, and -1 there. Do you agree with me? It gives me 0. It gives me y to the power of 0, which is actually just 1. In the bracket, I'm left with y to the n. I'm going to do the bottom. The bottom one is, it's still over 1. The bottom one is 3 to the n, is what I need. That 3 to the -1. Do you all agree? Let's do it on this side. 3 to the -1 is actually a third. You agree? If I've got a third underneath the line and I want to take it to the top, it becomes 3 to the power of 1. And 3 to the power of 1, if I times it with a 9 in the front here, it gives me 27. The y to the power of 0 is just 1. What is left in my bracket? Y over 3 to the power of n. So all I've done now, I've taken that little common n exponent to the outside. It's one of your exponent laws that you need to know. And now I see, it looks exactly like the one that they asked me. So the original one there was 100% right. You filled in the A and the R, but it didn't look like the one that they gave you. So all you need to do is like the previous lesson where we just cheated a little bit. We need to cheat a little bit and shift the exponents and separate them so that it looks exactly like the one that they gave us, and then it should be the right answer. So I'm going to take this off so that you can do it all on your own. Again, the memo is here nicely written, and you can go and check after you've done it. You can check. There's another question, but there's the first question, 27.8. Let's just get my pen. There's the first question we did. I forgot there was another question. The other question asked, calculate. There's actually two others, so we need that space. The other one said, for which values of y will this series converge? The minute you read the word converge, I'm just going to do it here. The minute you read the word converge, you know that a series can only converge if my r lies between -1 and 1. So I need to test if my r lies between -1 and 1. That is what I need to test. So let's just check. You remember what my r was? My r was y over 3 if I'm not mistaken. Yes, my r was y over 3. So if I take y over 3, -1 smaller than 1, what did they ask? For which values of y will this sequence converge? So they're telling you this sequence is converging. They're not asking you to prove it, because then you have to prove it lies between -1 and 1. You know it lies in between there. Now I wonder if you can remember, I think you did this in grade 8. How to get rid of this little fraction there. You times by 3. So it becomes -3. That one becomes +3. So there's your answer. If the y lies between -3 and +3, your sequence will converge, because then it will still be a fraction that you multiply with. Last question. Calculate the sum to infinity if the y is equal to 2. So now we go back there. 9 times 2 is my 18, is my first term. 3 times 2 square is 4 times 3, which is 12, etc. You don't even need more, because all you need is the a and the r. So let's just write down. My a was 18. My r, how do we get r? Second term divided by first term. 6 go in there 3 times. So my r is 2/3 and my a is 18. That is now if my y is 2. So I went back to the original sequence or series, because there's pluses in between, and I found it. Now it's just the formula. A over 1 minus R. A was 18. 1 minus 2/3. If you click that on your calculator, you'll get the answer of s to infinity, the sum of infinity terms. It will give me an answer because my R did lie between -1 and 1. And that's that. Very easy, nothing more difficult than this. All we've done now is what you're going to see in the exams for the end exam. After you've done all of this, you know that the answers are there. There's the answer to converge. There's the answer that we didn't work out fully now. We just said you can click it on your calculator, 54. And then, as always, we give you some exercises to go and practice some more of it. More exercises to practice. Just make sure that you get to the yellow answers. And then you've got everything that you need to know for sequences and series. So good luck. I hope you get all nearly full marks. Maybe there's a little common mistake or silly mistake that you make, but I hope you all get in the 90s for your series and sequence questions. Good luck.